Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and it's time for another Battle of the Booktuber vlog. If you guys are unaware of what Battle of the Booktubers is, we are in the midst of the championship round. I will put the announcement for the championship round down below, but I'll also put all of the playlists for the previous rounds, how we got our champions. This is a competition amongst booktubers to figure out who is the best of recommending books. And there are some little surprises along the way within the championship round that we didn't have in the original round. So if you guys haven't checked out that announcement video, please do so. With this vlog, we are going to be reading The Spear Cuts Through Water and Herald. And I'm going to start with The Spear Cuts Through Water today. The only thing I know about it going in is that we have two characters, I believe they're warriors, and they help a goddess escape from an emperor who is holding her captive. That's really all I know going into the story. I've heard a ton of people love it. It's gotten a lot of hype on BookTube when it came out. I haven't heard many people talk about it recently, but I do know a lot of really big booktubers have enjoyed it, including Angela from Literary Science Alliance. I know that it was one of the books that she really enjoyed. I've heard that it has a unique writing style, so I'm excited to figure out that and see if I find it fascinating and what's different about it. So yeah, that's what I'll be reading. I will let you guys know when I have an update for you. It is a little bit later in the day and I am almost at 20% through The Spear Cuts Through Water and I need to talk to you guys. So today has been an interesting reading day. I had some time, so I wanted to start and kind of get like have some good progress into this story. I wasn't anticipating updating you guys until 33%, but some things have made me feel like I need to update you earlier. I guess I'll just start with, I don't know what's going on. I'm 20% into the book and I really don't understand what's happening. I did put a hold in my library today to see if I could get the physical book and maybe immersive read it, and perhaps that will help me. But I was reading in my car because I had some errands to do, and I understand the start of the story. You have a grandson and a grandma. The grandma is telling the grandson a story. That part is told in second person, and the reader is the grandson. And so as the grandma is reading the story, she refers to you as you, which is fine. I've enjoyed second person narratives with, like, the 5th season has one character that is second person, and it is a little bit of an adjustment that you have to make. And so that was a little weird to start. It feels a little Princess Bride-y, which I do like the Princess Bride, but things got more complicated after that, because it felt like in that first narrative that the grandma was telling the grandson that there was going to be something that he was taken to that sounded almost like an ethereal dreamscape that was called some type of theater. I can't remember what theater it was, but maybe that he would be taken, and she also told him to let his dream mind go or something like that. And so it makes me think that there is a dreamscape that he is in. And the reason I don't know is because now we also have the warriors, and well, not even the warriors, just some other characters that are in a realm and things are happening, but I'm not quite sure. The book, the writing style is very interesting, I will say that. It definitely switches. I think it does first person, second person, and third person, if I'm not mistaken. But it also switches point of views a lot, and it doesn't have any indication when that happens. And so I'm getting a little lost in who's who and whether or not if things are real, if this is a story, or if it's something, if it's in a play that we're seeing. I'm a little confused as to what's going on. So anyway, I read 6% on audio as I was driving around, and I thought, like, maybe I'm just distracted, and so I need to reread it. So I reread the first 6%. I'm not any better versed in what the first 6% of this book has in store. So then after that, I went online and I looked up character description. So I was just trying to find, like, who are the main characters of this story in not spoilers, but like I wanted like their purpose. Like what's the storyline that I'm following them in? And that kind of helped me a little. I now know that there is a character whose name I'm not going to remember, but they seem to be some type of a general. There's the emperor, who is definitely like tyrannical, and he has 3 sons, and they're all called terrors, and they are going around and kind of terrorizing people. The terrors themselves have sons. One of them's name is June, and I think June is also a bad person. But then I kind of get the vibes that he doesn't want to do things the way that his dad does them. But I don't know if I'm mixing characters up, because I feel like some of the descriptors that I got from June, like why his dad really wanted to get back together with him, was like because June gets so much pride and respect from the people because of how harsh he is. But maybe I was mixing that up with one of the terrors. I also know there's a character named, or no, I think June is the one who's going to take the sword. Or no, that's there's a K name. He's going to take the sword to a person named Shan. And the sword is really important to someone. Or maybe it's not a sword, maybe it's a spear, because it's called The Spear Through Water. So I've read the first 6% twice. I continued on thinking like maybe I just need to get deeper into the story to really understand what's happening. And we just got to the part where we were having the conversation with the Camille, whatever, the K name. And was it the goddess that gave him the spear and is saying that she trusts, it was a woman, that she trusts him to make it across the nation with the spear and deliver it, and it's important for some reason, but I didn't really understand why it was important. So yeah, I'm not enjoying myself. I'm confused. And I've read complex fantasies before, and so I feel like I'm usually pretty good about understanding what's happening, but I think the writing style is really messing with me, especially the jumping back and forth between characters. There was also a part recently that was literally in a play. I know that for a fact because I went back and re-listened to a couple of paragraphs, because I was like, are we actually seeing like a theater presentation or like a play? And they used the word play. So, and then oh, what else? I lost my train of thought because I was going somewhere with that. Oh, the writing style. Yeah. So I really think that them going from like character to character is really messing with me, because it's not allowing me to like connect to which characters are who. I can't tell who is who and why I should care, and who's mean and who's not mean, and who we're rooting for and who we're not rooting for. That part I'm a little lost. And then there was also an element in time that I think we literally went back in time, or like maybe there's dual timelines, which I usually like. I recently had a video on hidden timelines I shouldn't even say recently, because this isn't going to go out until July, but I did a video on hidden timelines. I enjoy having to put the pieces together at the end, but I'm so confused on the storylines that I don't think I have any hope of putting the timelines together. So the reason I am updating you so early in the book is because I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it. I'm going to give it until 50%. And so that's probably going to be the next time I update you, and I'll just tell you whether or not I'm planning on finishing the book. Because if I don't figure out timelines by 50%, if I'm still as confused as I am now, and I even slowed down my audio. And I've re-listened to, I know I re-listened to the first 6%, but there are like bits and pieces of each of the chapters I've also re-listened to. I've spent a lot of time on just the first 20% of the book to be as confused as I am. And so if I continue to be this confused, I am DNFing this book, which sucks. I'm sorry. I'm really shocked because I know a ton of people love this. And so I feel like I'm missing something. Like I feel like I should understand more than what I am. And so I'm hoping maybe if I get the physical book and it was available at my library, I just have to wait for them to deliver it to my actual branch. I'm hoping that will help with the like jumping from brain to brain, but I don't know how that's done in the physical book either. So we'll see. I'm sorry, friends. So yeah, I'll talk to you when I have an update. Hopefully it's a good one. Hello again. I have been debating for a while on whether or not I wanted to record this tonight. And I figured I'm just gonna go ahead and talk. And if editing me decides it's not worth putting in, then it's not worth putting in. But I've gotten to 33% of The Spear Cuts Through Water, and I told you guys that I was going to get to 50%. And at this point, I don't know. I don't know if I want to or not. I'm really struggling to pick up this book. I understand a little bit more of what's going on. The stories definitely started to kind of pull together, and I at least understand one of the storylines. We have, I'm still not going to remember the guy's name, Kim, anyway, whatever his name is, he is a one-armed soldier, and he is now traveling with June and the moon goddess, and they're traveling through, his goal is to deliver this spear, to someone named Shan, however you pronounce it. And they're traveling in a really dangerous way because the moon goddess is currently being hunted by the emperor and his 3 sons. And there was some weird talk of her having people eat her because that's how power is transferred in this world. And I did hear some faint rumblings in this, or in some reviews that I was reading to try and figure out what is happening in the storyline, that there is cannibalism in this book. Which I've read books with cannibalism in it before, but it always kind of makes me queasy. And depending on how it's done, and this one in particular, there was one review that makes me a little worried about that scene, but that happens after 50%. So I'm still debating whether or not I want to pick up the book because I still just am lost. The writing style is really distracting for me. The fact that there was a scene, and I told myself I need to remember the scene. The 2 soldiers, which at this point I don't even remember who it was. It was June and, was it June and Kahim? Is it Kahim? Is that his name? That doesn't sound right to me. Whatever. The 2 soldiers are walking down the road and someone comes and spits at them. And you randomly get whatever is in that person's head. This random character that we're probably never going to see again. And that's very common in this story. I feel like it almost feels like the narrator is like a hacky sack that the characters are, tossing or kicking back and forth, and whoever has the hacky sack is the person you're allowed to be in their head. That's how the book feels to me. And that's very distracting to try and follow a story through that perspective, through that lens, I guess. It's very disorienting for me. And so I'm not enjoying that aspect. I also I don't get the layers of the story. The fact that we have the grandmother who's telling the grandson, who is us, the story, but then we also have a play that's in like a dreamscape, but then we also are following the characters in the dreamscape. And so sometimes it doesn't sound like a play, but other times it does. And they use terms like there's people like the audience is watching them. That part, I don't understand how all of it fits together or why it's important. Why could we not have just read a story that follows 2 soldiers helping a goddess across the nation? And also they have a tortoise with them that is stinky. I don't understand. And he's also somehow disfigured. And what do they call him? They call him something else. I really don't like the fact that he's called that. What is he called? Oh, the defect, I think is what they call him, the defect. And I don't know. I don't like any of the characters. I'm not connected to the story. I don't know what is happening. So I wanted to pop on here and give you guys more of my thoughts to try and be a little bit more coherent than I was in the first clip, although I don't know that I've succeeded. And yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, before I make my final decision, I am still waiting on the library to give me a physical copy. I'm hoping that's going to come in tomorrow, and I think that's when I'm going to make my final decision. Is I'm going to, you know, pop into the physical book and see, is it easier for me to read physically or immersively, and am I still understanding the story, or am I not understanding the story? And that's going to be kind of the last nail in the coffin or whatever of this book. So I'm sorry, friends. I'm trying really hard, but I just don't know if I can do it. Hello guys, I am here to finish out my thoughts for A Spear Cuts Through Water, and it's been a bit since I last updated you guys. I thought I filmed an ending clip to this, but apparently I did not. So, hi, I'm here. I did end up deciding to DNF this book, and I made that decision after I brought home the physical edition from the library and tried to immersion read it so I could see how the author was writing the different tenses that we had, because we had first person, third person, and first person all involved in this. We also had different characters. We could see and hear these random characters in the storyline as well. And I just wanted to see, like, if reading it physically would help me. And it didn't. I think it confused me more because there are certain parts in the story that are bold-faced, and it seemed like those were supposed to be inner monologue, but they also seemed like someone was talking to you, which that kind of confused me. It didn't help. It didn't help with my confusion of what was going on in the storyline, and I think that had I continued, this would have ended up being a 1-star or less, just because I was not connecting with the characters because of all the different tenses and things. I felt very disconnected from the story. I also didn't know what the heck was going on. And it's hard for me. Not connecting with the characters is a really big deal for me because I am a character-driven reader. But if I can't connect with the characters, I can entertain myself with the plot. But when I'm not understanding the plot, it's hard for me to enjoy myself. So I really don't think that this would have gotten a high rating from me anyway had I continued, but I did try, guys. I've reread, I know I talked to you guys about that in some of the other clips that I did for this, but I reread, I tried immersion reading, I got the book physically, like I feel like I put my best foot forward and really tried, because this is the top book that was recommended to me, but I just don't think it's for me. I do think that this author took a lot of risks in how the story was written, and I think it's really cool that they did that. It didn't work, in my opinion. There are a lot of people who absolutely love this book, and so I know that there's probably an audience for it. It's just not I. So this is a DNF. Fingers crossed that book number 2 in this vlog will be a success. Today I am here to update you guys about my second book for this vlog, and that is Herald, which is by Rob Hayes. So I'm really, really hoping that this one sticks the landing, because as you guys all know by now, I did DNF The Spear Cuts Through Water, which was this Booktubers' first choice. So I am hoping that their second choice comes through with shining stars for them. This is by Rob Hayes, which is the same author as another book. I won't mention the title here because I don't know what order I'm going to put these vlogs in, but there's another book in this competition that was recommended to me that I did read for Battle of Booktubers. And I am fascinated by the fact that this author got mentioned more than once. I just thought I would mention that. I have picked up Herald, but I haven't gotten super far. So I'm 25% in. I might do an update at 30% in, or I might just go to 60% and then come back and update you guys. But I knew nothing going into this book, and I was a little, I don't want to say intimidated because it's a chunky book. It's a 26-hour audio, But I was a little worried because a lot of my reads for Battle of the Booktubers have been very long. I'd have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure this one is one of the longer books on my list. With not hearing about it or hear anybody talking about it, to have a really chunky read, it does make me a little leery, but I am excited. And now that I've gotten into it, I do think that I'm going to enjoy it. We are following our main character, who for whatever reason, her name does not stick with me. Is it Rhaenyra? It reminds me of Rhaenyra from Stormlight Archive. Rhaenyra. That's her name, Rhaenyra. And she is fairly young. I actually don't know how old she was. I know she was living with her mother. Her mother is a washwoman for the town, so she does the washing of everyone. And I don't know if it's everyone in the town, but that's what she does for a living, is she is a washwoman. And her daughter helps her. And she definitely wants more for herself. She's a little bit of a daydreamer with adventures. You see her very early on in the book fighting a monster, and it ends up being a barn cat, which I thought was very cute. And she is living in a world that has had a war of humans versus gods. So at the very, very beginning of the story, the prologue of the story is King Emmerich killing an angel, and they give you a little brief overview of some things that have happened in the past. And so we know that this King Emmerich is the one who went to war with God, and killed a whole bunch of the angels in this war, but there were some angels that escaped heaven and are now roaming the earth. And he is slowly going through and killing all of the angels that are left. So there are some animosities between humans and angels on Emmerich's side. There are some people in the world who do still believe in God and still worship or give like sacrifices to these divinities. And so there's some contention there between those two kind of factions of individuals. The people who believe are definitely in the minority, and they are slowly being weeded out of society. They have to be very secretive with their beliefs because of what could potentially happen to them if anyone finds out what they truly believe. We also have this really interesting thing that is happening that we've learned through King Emmerich, that he has lived for a very, very long time, and it is because of his consumption of angel flesh. Like, quite literally, they eat divinities. That is one of the reasons that they go and kill them, because by ingesting certain parts of an angel, you get different powers given to you, provided to you. Their blood can give you long-lasting life. In some cases, it can give you immortality, and so they are a quote-unquote hot commodity in the noble society for people who are wanting to gain power. So that is also an added layer within the story. Well, to get back to Rhaenyra? I just forgot it between telling you what it was before. I'm just going to call her Rin. That's what I'm going to call her. But she is put in a situation where an angel needs her help, and she agrees to help guide him through the forest to safety. And so she goes on an adventure, but it's not quite what she expected. It's definitely more dangerous and treacherous than she was signing up for. And in the process of her helping this angel, we get to see the world dynamics. We get to see the angel's perspective on why he now hates humanity, because they have killed so many of his brethren and family. Also, to kind of make things worse for the angels as they are fighting these humans. Any of the humans who have ingested angel flesh will exhibit the powers of those specific angels, because each angel has their own ability. And so as we see certain battles happening, you will notice that an angel sees an ability being used of one of their siblings, and it's devastating to them, because they might not have known that that particular sibling was dead, and now that is a confirmation because their powers are being used by their conquerors. So But I really enjoy following Ren's character. She is definitely young, and knowing what I know about her family, which we don't know a ton, but we currently know something that she doesn't know. And I see her reflecting on times with her mother and the homesickness that she is exhibiting now that she's away from home, now that she's kind of gotten her wish. Her reflection on that and thinking back to all the things that she always took for granted because she always wanted to get out is a very thoughtful. I think it's been done very well throughout the story of seeing her kind of battle with herself of like, this is what I wanted, but I do miss, like she talks about missing the smell of her mother cooking breakfast in the morning and her humming as she's cooking breakfast. And so there's some like little tiny moments that I just think are really well done as far as her character goes. So I am enjoying it so far. I don't know, I'm a little concerned with this being a battle between God and humans and angels and humans. It did at the very, very beginning remind me just slightly of Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman, which I really did not enjoy because of the fact that we do have this kind of, I don't know, I guess apocalyptic world, but it's more apocalyptic for angels than it is for humans. But it still has kind of that vibe. We also have, it's a journey book because you have this angel traveling with this young girl, and that was very similar to what was happening in Between Two Fires. And so I kept seeing some parallels and I was like, ooh, this might not be for me, but it's pivoted a little bit. And so I do think that it is going to be a story that I can enjoy. Currently, if I had to predict my rating, I would say it's probably going to be a 4-star, but we'll see. We'll see if it surprises me, if with this very long book, the character development just completely wows me, because I know I'm a character-driven reader, so I am a sucker for some good characters, so that might pull up my rating quite a bit, but we shall see. So I will talk to you guys when I have an update for you. Back for another update, and I am well past 2/3. I don't know exactly the percentage that I'm at right now, but I got to chapter 44, and I wanted to pause and update you guys on my thoughts. I am still really enjoying it. I think that the world is very interesting, and I really have enjoyed getting to know some of our characters, and the building of angel powers and angel history that we've gotten in this little chunk has been really fun to kind of see unfold. We also have some past of the angels that they don't really want anyone to know about, that we've found out through various means. And so that's kind of fun. The one thing I will say about this book is I don't think that it does a very good job of holding suspense or withholding information from the reader long enough, because I can say that I haven't been surprised by anything. I shouldn't say that. There have been things that obviously I didn't know were coming, but like the big reveals, I think that the author hints at them along the way purposefully. Like I don't think that I think it's a type of writing style that we're going for. And I think that because of that, the story, it's very easy to read, but I don't know that it's pulling me in, I guess. I am really interested. I think that it's a well-written story, and as I said, it's an easy read, so when I'm listening, this is the book that I have been listening to, like when I'm cooking dinner or when I'm playing cards, because it doesn't take a lot of mental capacity for me to understand what's going on and follow our characters. That might be because I've been with them for, 18 hours at this point in time. But it also, I think, is just the way that this author writes. I think that it's very clear, and it's not a complex writing style, even though the story is very detailed, if that makes sense. It's still simple to understand. I do like the backstory that's being developed with our main character, Ren, and I can see where it's going, like I just said, as far as not being surprised, but I do appreciate that. I also like her battle with whether or not she wants to be the Herald and what's the correct decision, whether or not she wants someone to tell her, is this the right choice, or if she wants to make that decision herself. That battle that's going on in her mind and being able to be with her as she figures it out is something that I do enjoy about the story. I'm a little confused about and a little worried about where Armstar, it's the angel that has been with Ren since the beginning. I'm a little confused about where we're going to go with his character, because I feel like, you know, we're over 2/3 of the way through and he's still just kind of a grump. And I do like his character, but I don't know if we're going to get any more than what we've already gotten as far as explanation as to why his demeanor is the way that it is. There was a reveal at the very end of today's, or my reading, before I updated you guys, that I don't know who the good guy is and who the bad guy is, if there is one, or if this story is meant to essentially say that, you know, there's never a wholly good person or a wholly bad person, that there's a little bit of both in everybody. But I don't know if that's the point. But yeah, there was something that I'm like, okay, what does that mean? The story surrounding Peril, who is King Emmerich, the human king who killed God and is immortal now. His daughter's name is Peril, and she's an animal companion named Tesh that she's had for a very long time. And their story is very intriguing to me. That's what we got a lot of within this little third that we've read, is how they originally came to be companions and how their relationship grew, how Emmerich kind of manipulated Peril a little bit at the beginning of their relationship, and the powers, the connection, I guess, between Peril and her wolf were really interesting to learn about throughout this. She's still a really terrible person, and I don't know if that's going to change now. I think that she's just going to continue being a terrible person. I really wished at the beginning, and I kind of thought maybe it would happen, that her character might get, you know, turned to the good side or whatever. After some of the things that have just went down, I don't think that that's going to happen. But I could be surprised. You know, books don't always go the way that we think they're going to go, but I kind of feel like this one is. I am enjoying it though. I think that it's good. I am still thinking 4-star range, probably a 4 is where I'm sitting at right now. I've been teetering back and forth between like a 3.75, 4.25. I've never really gone out of that range for anything, and I feel at this point, in order for this book to be below a 3.75, it would have to do something really horrible at the end of the book. For it to go above 4.25, it would have to do something masterful, I think. So that's kind of the range I'm thinking right now. So I am enjoying it. I don't know. I want to say I don't know if it's worth the page count, but it has been a really quick read. So I kind of do think it's worth the page count. I guess I'll find out whenever I finish the story. And so I am going to go do that, and I will come back with my final update. I did finish Herald this morning, and so I wanted to wrap up the vlog and give you guys my final thoughts on this book. I think that I really enjoyed the world that was created in Herald. I think that the angels, the war that went on, the politics surrounding that, the powers that humans can gain by eating angel flesh, and some of the I guess, kingdom dynamics that we've learned about, I found really fascinating, and I really did enjoy it. What I didn't love is a couple of things that happened at the end, because I feel like I feel as though I don't know, maybe I'm not being fair. I was going to say I feel as though one reveal is something that I feel like there should have been more breadcrumbs. And it's not to say there wasn't any, but I feel like the breadcrumbs were leading me to think that it was going to be something bigger than it was, even though it was rather grand as far as a reveal goes. But I mean, I made the comment earlier about how this book didn't hide anything from us, and, you know, always kind of let us know where it was heading. And I still believe that, but I think for like the main reveal at the end, I do think I would have appreciated a little bit more in the grand scheme of things. More, maybe not obvious clues, but things that I could have looked back on and been like, oh, I didn't catch that the first time. Minute details that maybe people wouldn't pay attention to, but are still important in the end. And then the very, very last chapter, I don't know if it was called an epilogue or not, is just kind of odd. And I don't know that I love that. I am curious as to how the series is going to continue. And so I do think I will continue it. Probably not anytime soon. I am definitely going to finish all my Battle of the Booktubers books first. So it might have to wait until the later half of the year, or maybe even 2026. But it is a series I would like to continue and see what is in store for all of these characters that we've now gotten to know. My final rating for this book is going to be a 4-star. I really enjoyed, as I've said, the world building, the magics. I think that where this book lacked for me is some of the things that happened at the end, the fruition of all of our events throughout the story. I think what happened was a little, I don't want to say lackluster, because it was crazy what happens at the end. But I guess my expectations were just a little bit too high as far as the finale goes. I also think that while the character development in the story was well done, and I think that the author had a lot of really important conversations with the backstories and the inner monologues that our characters have as they're going through certain events, I still found myself disconnected from some of the characters, and so I think that that's part of why I'm not going to give it a higher rating, but a 4-star is still amazing, and I really do want to continue on to this series and see what has, you know, what's in store for our characters in the future. With that, this vlog is coming to a close. We have 2 books. The Spear Cuts Through Water was the top choice for this booktuber, which unfortunately was a DNF for me. It just didn't work. And Herald was their second choice, which I gave 4 stars. So that book was, I absolutely appreciate the recommendation. It's a book that I'd never heard of before, and I really do think that it was fascinating. A big chonky book, which we know that's where my heart lies, so I do appreciate that. I think as far as the predictions go, who I think gave me these books, I'm gonna go with Victoria, and I don't really know about The Spear Cuts Through Water, because I don't know that Victoria's ever read anything like that, but I do feel like Herald would be Victoria's taste. And so that's why. I don't really know that that's a good reason to predict her. I think this is probably my weakest prediction. I think I am most questioning of thinking that this is Victoria, but that's what I'm going to go with. So we shall see. Well, let me know in the comments down below if you guys have read either of these books. If you're interested, are you going to add them to their TBRs? I would love to know what your thoughts are. If you're not feeling chatty, but you still want to let me know that you're here, leave a little angel emoji for Herald. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!